My friends, today we break down big comments made by Enzo Maresca in regards to top 4 expectations, Robert Sanchez's future, his thoughts on the City game, on top of more updates involving transfer targets and news. So we got a lot to break down, a lot to discuss. I know last night I crashed out. I had to crash out. I'm a human being. I care. I'm still feeling a bit annoyed. I'll keep things brutally honest with you guys. But anyway, that's enough of the intro. Let's get straight into things. I want to start things off by discussing the latest updates surrounding Mathys Tel. Things have quieted down. The attention has turned towards Garnacho and our big offensive to persuade the young winger to sign for us. But the Tel move never actually died, and it seems like something could be happening and emerging before this window ends. As we are learning now, Manchester United, of course, they're showing an intent and interest in potentially signing Nkunku. It makes a ton of sense. Him in the inner channels on the left-hand side with a wing-back alongside him, if they can sign Dorgu, I mean, that's completely upgrading Man United's left-hand side. And conversations around Nkunku and Man United naturally stem from our interest in Garnacho. However, we still have not presented the first official bid, even though we finally got the okay from Garnacho. So that's a big revelation. But now we turn our attentions to Mathys Tel and Bayern Munich, because since Tel made a sub-appearance, I think against Hoffenheim, securing an assist, he has not played the last 3 games. And it makes you remember that Bayern have reached a verbal agreement already with Nkunku. They've agreed on his wage packet. Right now, they would have to sell Tel to be able to fund the move for Nkunku. So, is Tel's recent admission not featuring in the last 3 games, is that by design from Bayern Munich? Is this Bayern Munich trying to carefully persuade Tel out of the football club, push him towards us, so they can reinvest that money into signing Nkunku, a player that helps their current ambitions to challenge for Europe, the league, and every tile and silverware they have at their hands? You know, it's a nice feeling. I miss that feeling. Part of me feels like if Bayern accepted that, they're just unable to fully utilize Mathys Tel's potential because they have other talents ahead of him, better players ahead of him, and instead of letting him waste away and watch him digress, sell him while his price is high and reinvest that into someone who is ready right now to contribute to their ambitions. Let's see what happens, but Romano reveals that the situation has now changed with Tel, and as we should remember, we've been waiting to get the okay from Tel before we present any official offers to try and sign the player. Is this a confirmation that Tel has been the number 1 priority and Garnacho has been the second choice if we can't get a move for Tel? It's starting to look that way. Bayern haven't agreed terms with Nkunku for banter, have they? So let's see how this window ends, because maybe something is emerging at the moment. Let's discuss an important story that emerged before our game against Man City. I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with this at the moment. I'm going to play some extracts right now so you guys can maybe catch up to what was said by Enzo Maresca.
And speaking about going in the right direction, consistently you said Chelsea aren't in the title race this season. In terms of that journey that you're going on, do you think that next season you could put in a real title challenge?
I don't know. The plan with the club was the schedule, that you try to do at the beginning of the season or when you meet the club for the first time. The schedule was second season go for top 4, and then after the second season try to compete for a title. So this is also the reason why I said many times that we are ahead of my expectation, because we spent almost all season in top 4 in the first season, and this show how ahead we are in terms of expectation.
As you heard him say, he reveals that we are ahead of expectations at the moment. But the big bombshell is the fact that I think the cat's finally out the bag. It's been revealed that it seems like there was no serious intention on doing everything in our power to secure Champions League football this season. If anything, this is yet again the 3rd transition season in a row where a manager has to waste more time building the fundamentals up before he is ready for the following season, if he's even here by that time, to then build on his work. I mean, it's frustrating being a Chelsea fan, and I know I keep saying this, but the fact that you take over a football club, blank slate, 1.5 billion to invest, and this is what we can show for it after 3 years, it's a madness. And I have to keep things real, you guys. I'm bored. I'm bored not winning. I'm bored not challenging. I'm bored not being a serious team. I'm bored seeing this Tottenham mentality, this Tottenham similarities that I'm seeing in my football club right now. And I think, why? What is the ultimate purpose and utility of this? I mean, listen, Maresca, I think I have to remind all you guys, he isn't the manager. I know it might sound like boring technicalities, but he is the head coach. So essentially, he is the yes man for people above him. He's only there to coach and improve the players. He ain't there for nothing else, yeah? Nothing else. I think that misses the ballpark though, because I feel like every club that challenges or has improvements or rises up, you see the relationship between the directors and the manager. And when they're in tandem, you see examples of special things like, Xabi Alonso and I think Steph Holfs, or whatever the guy's name is, the former Leverkusen player, where an example was Xabi Alonso played against St. Truden that had Victor Boniface, and after the two-legged affair, he was instantly like to the directors, I need this brother up front for next season. Get him for me. And the rest was history. We're seeing an incapacity and an inability for our board to show this level of ambition. And at this moment, is the conversation, should it be focused on, is this by design right now? Is this by design? Are they thinking to themselves they can outsmart the simple principles you need to be successful in the game by constantly finding cheat codes and loopholes? Yeah, some of the loopholes have been good for us structuring and financing some of the mega deals. Calm. But that's not enough. So what? I mean, so what realistically? All that really matters is what happens on the field right now. And you're creating, my theory is, you're creating this culture of losing, where most of these guys only know defeat, only know losses. Fan apathy is growing day by day. And I think to myself, like, how long? How long are you waiting for something to happen at this football club? I mean, we've constantly seen contradiction after contradiction every single year. I mean, for God's sake, Pochettino left here because he underperformed. Like Barley with his data sheets, explaining exactly the underperformances he's seeing in the team. There's not much difference from what happened last season and this season. Let's keep things real. Obviously, we can't forget the fact that one of the main reasons why Pochettino did leave was that he just felt like he couldn't do anything with the club because the differences in ideas were too vast and big, you know? Poch was screaming for experience since the moment he signed, and he never got that. And he constantly got undermined because the players he wanted to keep, the club didn't want to keep. And, it's constant examples of this, where there is just this lack of connection between the manager and the directors. And these directors shouldn't fool themselves into thinking that they're top directors. Their experience in this game is not big. They came from mid-table clubs, and all these strategies work with mid-table clubs because it's easier to outperform the pack around you. But the margins are way bigger when you're a club that has the honor to challenge with things, and you have the capacity to do that. Those margins are infinitely higher. And, this build a wonder kid team for the future 5 years from now on a pittance, I mean, is that really a guaranteed source of success? Is that really guaranteed to be the main option? I mean, what happens if players decide they want to go? Or people lose interest in signing for us because our rep now is going downhill? I mean, these things matter. And I worry if these things are even really cared about, to be honest with you. This revelation that top 4 is not important this season sums up what Maresca's been saying this entire time. We aren't ready to challenge for the title, cool. And you know what, to give grace to the manager, who I've got more sympathy for, because I understand that he has to play the game. That's why he was hired. I get that. But I have some sympathy because, in a way, is he right? Because when you want to compete, you need to have every player in your squad built and ready for the manager's ideas. I mean, everyone's praising Bournemouth and Areola. Bro, in the summer, Areola and the directors, again, another example of these guys working in tandem. Areola was like, for my intense football, it requires a lot of running, a lot of power, a lot of fitness, a lot of pace. I need to move some guys out of here, and we have to buy players who can only play this way if we want to find success playing my way. And did Bournemouth buy players opposite to the manager's ideas and principles to waste his time? Absolutely not. I mean, imagine going through this season. All these attacking mids he won't be using, still here. No other striker. Too much pressure on Nico Jackson, still not here. Robert Sanchez, I'll talk about this in the next story. Again, this is not a top keeper that you build with. That gives confidence to, a flipping young-ass defense that you have no experience for. I mean, you see all the gaping holes in the squad construction. And probably this explains the reality that, we probably need just another season yet again to make sense of the mess that we've created for ourselves, because we forced so much change all at once without having any single plan yet. So that's all I got to say. I can go on a lot more, and I probably will be doing that during the week, so stay tuned and for the next story. But finally, for God's sake, are we set to see Robert Sanchez being omitted from the squad that's set to play against West Ham soon? Maresca said that Sanchez acknowledged his mistakes by saying, Robert, for sure, he is completely aware that he has to do better. He was completely aware after the game. He knows perfectly. In this moment, it is like this. The good thing is that he is first one to know this, and he's aware that he has to do better. But Maresca then follows on to say this when asked if he still trusts Sanchez. And as he says, we trust Robert for sure. The first one who is completely aware that he is making mistakes in this moment is Sanchez. For sure, we continue to trust him, blah, blah, blah. But now we have one entire week. We will see the reaction and then see for the next game. So a lot of times you have to look between the lines. Things are very cryptic. But if this is not an admission that Jorgensen is set to start, then I don't know what is. And my God, Jorgensen, yeah, I hope you are licking your lips. But more importantly, I hope you have been waiting for this moment. I hope you've been training particularly well. I hope you've been doing the work behind the scenes here, because you should have known when he signed for us, and he probably did know. But eventually, there could be a point where Robert is going to bozo out and get himself out the team. So this finally looks like this may be your moment. You must take this with both hands, yeah? You must grasp this opportunity, for God's sake. I hope he does well. I can't tell you that I've got instant faith that Jorgensen is the clear upgrade. All I can hope for is that I'm going to see better use of the ball. I'm going to see him in the game. He's going to step up for us. He's been encouraging in the cup games this season. Let's keep things real. But it's quite simply this. Sometimes, even if you're the number one, if you've fallen off, if you're an absolute liability, and you're seeing it, bro, you're seeing the flipping defense glaring at him, shaking their heads. They got no faith or trust. And you know what's really interesting? I heard big things from Alex Goldberg, who has a lot of close ties to the club naturally, if you're getting interviews with all these players and whatever. And he revealed that there seems to be like club politics behind the scenes in terms of our goalkeeping coach and Ben Roberts being the one to really push Sanchez as the number one. And Maresca, head coach, yes man Maresca, has just been accepting that. But at some point, Maresca, we've seen that you're reluctant to turn towards the subs. You're not a complete ussy, yeah? This is your moment now to make an impact, because you have to show that you got balls and you're not just a yes man. This is the moment for everyone now to turn things around. I'm not saying Jorgensen is the clear number one this entire time. I don't have blind faith in him. But all I know is that right now, there's a moment to give him a fair shot. Like, interestingly, the only games where Sanchez plays good is when he's getting tested in goal time and time again. But the moment he's not really active in games, this is when you should be afraid of Robert Sanchez and get scared. Because the lack of concentration, the lack of application, it kicks in, bro. It kicks in and he messes up. But to even go on with some of the things Goldberg told me, another thing I heard is that actually, which is even more baffling, and it's really made me just recontextualize my understanding of the sport and the game and squad fairness and politics and business and football clubs. But I've even been hearing that he's not even been training well. Like, he's not even training well. The mistakes he's making in training is translating in his on-pitch performances. And you just think to yourself, if this is allowed at a football club like ours, what is this saying about the overall mentality and ethos and the structure and the philosophy in terms of what we're doing? I found it absolutely shocking to keep things real with you. So right now, get this brother out the team instantly, yeah? Get him out. He doesn't deserve to play right now. And for the final story, my friends, we have some more interesting updates surrounding one of the wonder kids, the real wonder kids of this season, because the term wonder kid is just such a loose term right now. Any youth with talent or who's physically developed above his age is a wonder kid. Nah, the real wonder kids. Dean Huijsen attracting a ton of interest from Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and also us, with Romano revealing that right now he is high on our shortlist. We're thoroughly impressed with him. And what's being revealed today is that actually Huijsen has a release clause, and that figure at the moment is reportedly 60 million euros. And that makes a lot of sense, because when Bournemouth were able to access this level of talent above their pay grade, they must be doing that knowing that there's stipulations in his contract which allows them to move on quite easily. I think 60 mil euros for a wonder kid like this is fair. But I now have to talk about responsible, sensible things. If I'm Dean Huijsen, am I going to think about coming to Chelsea Football Club and playing alongside young guys in defense? Or am I going to go be serious about my career, go to Real Madrid, play alongside Antonio Rudiger, who's going to be my warrior, my captain, my leader, my commander beside me on that field, who's going to actually relieve so much pressure for me by instructing me during the game that I'll end up being an even better player for this in the future. And I'm going to be spamming incredible passes over the top to flipping release Vinny Jr., Mbappe, and all these men at Real Madrid, yeah? For me, it's an absolute no-brainer. What's even more shocking is, again, this continued miscommunication around what the actual plan is. You know, Mark Guy, cheeky attempts. Oh, we want to look for a ready-made experienced guy right now to help things out. Reports coming out that Dean Huijsen now is turning us on. Why is there this non-stop disconnect? You know, is it because we have 2 different directors, 3 different voices promoting transfers? I mean, what is going on right now? You just signed Ansel Mino. You've just told Action Point to sign a long-term deal. We got Levi Colwill, who's, you know, having a bit of a down spell. He has no experience alongside him. He's 21 years old. This is standards. You know, what the hell is going on in terms of addressing the actual needs for the team now? Now, this obsession to buy young. I mean, it's worrying because we act like the environment at our club is that elite and perfect that if you're buying young, you're guaranteed to create the next best player in the world. You know, a lot of guys are already kind of regressing. Regressing is a harsh word. I'm getting too carried away. But we haven't necessarily seen continued increases in performances that much for most of these guys. There's been few small little incremental differences, but it's not enough. And it really feels like if you want to help the guys you already have pushed on now, you have the experience where you need that voice, for God's sake. Someone who knows how to control the tempo, someone that can talk to the team, that can communicate, that brings people back, that can relieve pressure by wanting to take the ball from man, who can win those 50. I mean, I can go on, for God's sake. The most famous example I will tell you guys right now is John Terry. Yeah, John Terry, let's keep things real. When he was a youth, first coming through as a bit of a passion merchant, he loved to slide tackle, he loved to get his shorts dirty. But he had the fortune of having experienced continental figures like Frank Leboeuf and Marcel Desailly coaching him on how to think, how to be in the game, technical aspects. And had John Terry not become the greatest defender in our club's history and one of the best in football history, if I'm keeping things brutally honest, yeah? If I'm keeping things very real. This is simple football principles. Simple football principles. I feel like these directors and owners feel like they're too smart for, and it actually blows my mind completely. These Huijsen links, I don't really get it. Unless we're planning a madness next season and we want to completely just cut and gut all our defenders apart from one guy or something. Cool, but then even then, what? A new defense needs even more time to get used to each other's game. I mean, it's not serious, and it's not really, you know, communicating that there's going to be, you know, incremental improvements for the following season, for the real 25-26 top 4 competing season. I mean, yeah, man, what can I say? I feel like I've, you know, seen things what they are right now. I'm seeing all the fallacies, all the nonsense. It's, yeah, it's crazy to me, to be honest with you. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up. That's the news today. Get involved in the conversation, and I'm going to recommend you guys watch my match review on the game yesterday because I had to crash out. I had to talk from the heart, and I had to talk about reality. I'll admit my energy was a bit mad. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to just like handle that and not get too sensitive about it. So yeah, you guys, thank you for watching. See you all soon. Cool.